we are really, really honored to be a part of today's commemoration. We oftentimes believe that the drum is a calling, and it can be a calling, of course, to bring together community, but it can also be a call to action and a call to remember. And that's actually in the spirit in which we are playing our drums today. And that is to remember something that happened that was quite horrific many, many years ago, but it's still present in our day, or in our days today. The first piece was a piece that you might often hear at times in which it's to remember a community, a time to remember, and sometimes even though it's joyful, to celebrate, even though that there's things that are happening in the world. The next piece that we're going to be performing for all of you is actually a piece of hope, a piece of building together. Two people will be straddling this one drum, and we oftentimes believe that it's through all of us coming together. The two of us hopefully represent many coming together, exchanging our rhythms, communicating, and hopefully making the world a better place. So with that, we play Futari, and that means two people.
You may have noticed the peace flags behind me and around the plaza today. These handmade pieces were originally created by local communities and people around the country for the 40th anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki ceremony in Washington, D.C. in 1985.
Adoration to the great Bodhisattva Nichiren, founder of our order. May all of you appear with great compassion in this place. Here at Japanese American Historical Plaza, we gather this evening happen to have the 68th anniversaries of the atomic bombings of Hiroshima, August 6th, and Nagasaki, August 9th. We respectfully dedicate all our merits gathered up now to those who lost their precious life through the nuclear bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, so they may partake in the joy of the Dharma. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo. Namu Myoho Renge Kyo.
A land known for its beauty, growing, changing, breathing, rich with life of natural wonders. Flowing with the waters from which origins of species drank, consumed clean water, flooding the flourishing land, beautiful, plentiful. For millions of years, affluent with history, the same land our ancestors walked upon, complicated and tangled with deep roots beneath the surface, home to our nation's natives, and the ones who came across the seas to thrive, a witness to tension, disease, war, two people meant to share the land, fought for the claim. Secrets brewed in the darkest parts of a man's mind, curious of the potential future. Top-secret confusions stole the land, the public unsure of what lay ahead. Soon enough, establishments destroyed, the towns the settlers blossomed out of nothing but hard work gone in the blink of an eye. Isolated and changed for the worse, selfishness and greed brought Mother Gaia to her knees. Strategies to kill our fellow beings, our brothers and sisters across the gaping seas of salty waters. Not so far away they were, not so different. Yet we dropped our nation's secrets into their hands, only to blow apart the connective tissue of our land, this land, the land we grew from, only to leave behind nothing but shadows, a world brought to silence. This once preserved and bountiful earth, pumped full of the evils where only a man's darkest desires hide, leaking beneath the earth's crust, far beneath the surface, smothering the river's flow, brought to a boil, radioactive, toxic, killed dreams of a future full of lush, green, streaming life, destroying a product of nature, an element that was meant to be, plots kept in secret, even from the 50,000 working for a way to get by, not knowing the damage, tricked into believing they were doing good. Testing became routine, slowly leaking the radioactive poison into our Earth's bloodstream, a vein to the system, beloved Columbia, all for plutonium, the element containing our safety, so they say, pulled in to cool, released to destroy, helping build our nation stronger. We're supposed to love our country, right? Put our hands out in front and push when the going gets rough. But what about the secrets they pushed under the rug? Not knowing what our people have truly done, even the people in power, our heroes, our leaders, the ones holding the futures in their hands, ordering more, needing more, craving the cold, metallic feel of power between their fingers, conquerors of death. And I thought they were in those positions to protect us, but only to destroy the land our ancestors lived from, the water they revolved life around, the land made uninhabitable, contaminated with the poison of power. Thousands of helping hands to clean up the mess that our heroes left behind, preparing for a future, saving what little we can before it's too late. Years and years of dedication, striving to revive a land known for its beauty, the source of beauty and life rolling in its waves.
Song is called Uno Somo Ai. It tells of a man who goes to the ocean to reflect upon his life. In each wave he sees opportunity, but as the wave goes away, he sees his failures. A new wave of hope soon appears, and it carries him and lifts him and takes him on to tomorrow. In Japan, Umi Sono Ai is recognized as a symbol of the country's spirit and the hope of a life fulfilled.
Embrace a new horizon. Takitomete Ashita no Nozomi wo Oretachi ni Ureru no na. Here a man sets free his soul to drift upon the torrents. On the swell of the sea is forced into the eyes of the wind, make course. Set sail for liberty, ride the waves, sail the seas with me. Soft winds will blow and make us free. Let us chart away to a brighter day. Though storms may come, we'll ride them out. You and I will go to find our freedom. Umio, Oreno, Umio, Bukina, Sono, Ayayo, Ohta, Omobio, Sono, Muneni, Takitomete, Ashita no Nozomi wo Oretachi ni Kureru no na.
They have been volunteering all afternoon long, making origami cranes over here. So if you want to know how to do that, these are your experts right here. And we're not just talking about the standard origami cranes that some of us know how to fold. They're making the kind where you pull on the tail and it makes the wings flappy. So really amazing work. So thank you for volunteering your time. Now, as you know, you have to do 1,000 cranes for good luck, so you're going to be here a while, so please help them out.
But the taking of 70,000 lives, civilian lives, completely unnecessarily was a genocidal act and a violation of the rules of war, and should have been considered a war crime. Had we not been the victors in that war, it would have been. The making of plutonium at that site during the Second World War, and then its use first as the test in New Mexico. What followed was decades of production of massive amounts of plutonium at several reactors at the site, and much damage done to the people who worked there and the communities around there, the downwinders. Charlie Grossman was involved in a study that helped to alert people to the fact that people living around the site were getting cancers at a rate that they should not have. So far, $8 billion has been paid out to workers at federal government nuclear complex facilities through a federal bill that passed in 1999, something that's not too well known. When you hear the nuclear industry talk about no fatalities, you have to face the fact that $8 billion of federal dollars say something else. Unfortunately, Twyla's vision of getting the site back to what it was like prior to all of this contamination. There are some hopeful signs and a lot of signs that are not so hopeful. One hopeful sign is that the reactors have all long been closed, and to some degree the contamination from them is being mitigated. Not so hopeful are the things that you're reading in the newspaper about the inability to stabilize the highly toxic wastes that were used in extracting plutonium from the fuel. If you're around here long enough to remember the Washington Public Power Supply System, they were a consortium of Washington public utilities that were attempting to build 5 nuclear power plants in Washington state. They only actually completed one of them, and that plant is still running. It's been renamed the Columbia Generating Station. They took the word nuclear out of its name entirely. It makes it sound like a dam or something like that. The fact that when we became aware of this at PSR, we got together with a number of other groups in the region, Sierra Club, Alliance for Democracy, a new group that came out of the Occupy movement called No Nukes Northwest, Columbia Riverkeeper, Heart of America Northwest, and Hanford Challenge to put together a campaign to try to close that reactor down and end the nuclear power age in the Northwest once and for all. We've been collecting information on the plant. As I said, it is identical to the Fukushima reactor. It has an elevated spent fuel pool that is vulnerable to earthquake damage, and the possibility of a large earthquake out in central Washington is much greater than they knew at the time that the plant was built. So we're at this point marshaling our facts. We have a report coming out next month on the plant safety history, and secondly, we've hired a renowned utility economist, Robert McCullough, who has been doing an economic study and is able to show now that if we close this reactor, we could replace its power and save money. And we've been talking to some of the general managers of some of the utilities that own this reactor about this fact, and I think making a lot of progress. Unfortunately, none of the utilities that actually control this reactor are located in Oregon, but I think some of you are from Clark County and Cowlitz and some of the other Columbia River counties are all members of the Energy Northwest board. They got rid of whoops as part of their PR effort, but they call themselves Energy Northwest, and we'll be asking Portlanders to come across the river and talk to their friends in Vancouver and help us shut down that reactor. There is a proposal to get research money for a new experimental reactor that a Corvallis company wants to build in Idaho, and unfortunately Governor Kitzhaber has said that he favors this proposal. Doc Hastings, who's the congressman representing the Tri-City area, has managed to include Hanford in a bill in Congress right now that would create national historic sites at Hanford and several other places where the bomb was created. And it's very incumbent upon us, as the people who do know this, that we have the true history and the full history represented at that site, should this legislation pass. I want to close with a statement from President Kennedy. This was in an article I just read today called "The Legacy of the Nuclear Test Ban Treaty" by Joseph Mangano and Janet Sherman, doctors who are both PSR members. And this is, we just passed the 50th anniversary of the passage of the Limited Test Ban Treaty between Khrushchev and Kennedy that stopped above-ground nuclear testing, which was something, it was really, the founding of PSR was for that, on that issue. But this is what Kennedy said as he signed the legislation. He had a prematurely born son die the summer after living only 39 hours, the summer before he signed it in the fall of, in August of 1963, not too long before he was assassinated. And this is what he had to say. The number of children and grandchildren with cancer in their bones, with leukemia in their blood, or with poison in their lungs might seem statistically small to some in comparison with natural health hazards. But this is not a natural health hazard, and it is not a statistical issue. The loss of even one human life or the malformation of even one baby who may have been born long after we are gone should be of concern to us all. Our children and grandchildren are not merely statistics toward which we can be indifferent.
So the final piece that we're going to play for you is called Taikokenesis, and kinesis, of course, means movement in English. And one of the things that we also hope is that we might move all of you to remember what has been spoken of today, all the wonderful stories and voices. So with that, in our unity, we celebrate our art form and hope that we've moved you. This is Taikokenesis.